Florida State is up to 9 wins on the season after defeating the Florida Gators last Friday night. And they'll be going for a 10th win in a bowl game. And that would be the first 10-win season for the Noles since the 2016 season. That would be something, quite an accomplishment for Mike Norvell, considering where this program was not too long ago. Now, let's talk about those bowls. As the season has progressed and as we've got now past officially the regular season, it looks like there are four distinct possibilities for the FSU's bowl and two really likely possibilities. So let's talk about that right now. And I'm going to start with some of the ones that are still being mentioned by major media outlets. Maybe a little bit of a long shot. There are some scenarios where these could still happen, so I don't want to completely debunk them, but they are still in the mix. And let's start with the Holiday Bowl. This is the bowl out in San Diego that pits the ACC against a Pac-12 opponent. Now, I wouldn't even mention this one, but ESPN's Mark Schlabach, he's a college writer for the mothership. You would think he'd be pretty dialed in. He has that projection right now, Florida State taking on Oregon in the Holiday Bowl out there. And that is on December 28th and is broadcast by the Fox Network. That has a $6.5 million total payout. I just can't see Florida State going across the country at this point with 9 wins. I know I've heard from several FSU people that, athletic director Mike Norvell would really like to keep in the state if possible. And I know the local Bulls, we're going to talk about them in a minute, would really like to keep Florida State. So it seems odd that they would go across the country, but you never know. There could be some weird politicking. I may talk about that later to make this happen. The other out-of-state bowl that is still on the radar and still a lot of people seem to be projecting Florida State to play in that is the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is played on December 30th and is broadcast by ESPN. Now, this bowl game puts the ACC against a Big Ten opponent, and still three major outlets are projecting this for Florida State. It just seems bizarre to me because there are three bowl eligible teams in North Carolina last I checked, and they don't travel very well. So why send them out of state when there's a bowl right in their backyard? It seems kind of bizarre. But anyway, SI.com, Sporting News, and CBS's Jerry Palmer all projecting Florida State to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl against Minnesota. Again, I doubt it, but three people are saying it could happen, so you never know. I guess it's possible. And that has a $4.7 million payout. Now let's move to a couple of bowls that I think are more realistic for Florida State, and that will be keeping it close to home. One of those is the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. That is played on December 30th and is broadcast by ESPN, and will put the ACC against an SEC opponent. Now, interestingly, you've heard a lot of buzz about the Gator Bowl, but none of the major outlets that I saw are currently projecting Florida State in that bowl, which seems really odd to me. I do think it's a very realistic possibility. I think, probably number two right now in my mind from what we're hearing. And if that happens, the team you keep hearing from the SEC that they would be matched up against is the hottest team in the SEC, and that's South Carolina, who just took it to Clemson last weekend. That has a $5.3 million payout. And the competition for that one right now, Florida State doesn't go to that bowl. I very much think it's going to be Notre Dame. Even though the ACC doesn't benefit from their football money so much, Notre Dame still benefits from all the ACC bowl tie-ins and could take that away from a legitimate football member. But anyway, if it's not Florida State, I think it's Notre Dame in that one. But the one right now that seems to be trending for the Noles, which is a little odd because they're going to be there in September of next year, and that is the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando, Florida. That is played on December 29th and is broadcast by ESPN. Now, this is interesting. This pits the ACC against a Big 12 opponent, and one of the projections, let's say two, Yahoo and Action Network have the Noles going against Texas Tech. That's fine. Not real exciting. Be nice to be in Orlando. The one that's exciting to me, and the one that, okay, I'll go ahead and say it, our official projection, at least my official projection, that talking to sources agrees with this, that this is right now the most likely possibility for Florida State when they go bowling. Now, a lot can happen because, we still got conference playoffs coming up, or championships, and there can be some mix-up. There's some politicking going on behind the scenes with these bowls. But that would be the Florida State Seminoles going against the Texas Longhorns in Orlando for the Cheez-It Bowl. And USA Today agrees with us. They also project the Noles against the Longhorns in that bowl game on December 29th. That has a $6 million payout. And I've also heard between the Gator Bowl and the Cheez-It Bowl, apparently the Cheez-It Bowl has the first priority there, and they want Florida State. And the rationale being, well, why would they want to be there twice, have Florida State there twice? Their thing is it's going to sell out both times, so why not? We all know Florida State LSU next year is going to sell out. That's probably two top 10 preseason teams, two historic programs. So that's going to sell out. And they put Florida State against Texas. That's probably going to sell out too. So it'd be a good scenario for them. And what we're going to do, if you are a warchant.com subscriber, I'm going to give you a couple little nuggets on why I'm hearing the Cheez-It Bowl and why there's some politicking going behind the scenes that may be trying to push FSU out of the state. But we'll get into that later. If you're not a subscriber to warchant.com, you can do that for $10. We got a special going on. $10, you're a subscriber all the way to the end of August 2023. So get in there now and sign up. And if you're not a subscriber on our YouTube channel, that's actually free. Just click down underneath me. You'll see a way to subscribe. Click the bell to get notifications. You'll get more content like this. You get our live shows, a lot of recruiting stuff coming up. That transfer portal is heating up. We're going to have a lot of news on that coming in the next few weeks. So keep it to warchant.com for all your Seminole news.